Well, welcome into the pilot episode of the Diamond Bearcat podcast, a new podcast brought to you by Bearcat Journal, where we will be going over all things the University of Cincinnati baseball with Jordan Bischel and them boys playing their brand of Bischel ball. But this is, again, the first episode that we have had here, so we will gladly take any sponsorships for this show. So if you are looking to sponsor something on the Bearcat Journal umbrella of shows, something in the network, this one is wide open for you. So if you wanted to just have your business and a little read here in this space, that is something that you can slide into Chad's DMs or email him at brendel.chad@gmail.com. That stuff out of the way. Feel like it's probably safe to start with a little introduction here where Tim, Jeff, you can talk about yourselves and what you do for Bearcat Journal that has brought you into this space, and what to expect from both the written that you do for Bearcat Journal and what you plan on talking about here.
Well, my job, I guess, would be weekly. I talk to Coach Bischel to get his impressions of the week and some of the issues that the Bearcats may have had, for positively and negatively, and then pretty much follow the team throughout the year and do previews and so forth. So I talk to Coach Bischel every week to keep me up to date on things, and text him occasionally. Today I was texting him about some things. So that pretty much sums up what I do, which isn't a lot, but just baseball only.
It's a team effort. I typically will run the game chat and most of the stuff on the board. I know you chime in every once in a while, Tim. Recruiting stuff and just whatever's on the mind of the board members. It's great that we've grown this baseball board so much over the last couple of years. Also, apologies, I'm old guy too. I can't figure out this camera, so for now I'm just audio tonight.
Well, it's start, and this is the first episode, and we probably should have done some type of dry run before, 15 minutes before we got started here. But in any case, this is where we're at. But we didn't get started in the first week of the baseball season, but maybe we can go back and look at just a quick glimpse as to where this team has been, as it now sits at 6-3 overall. But they start with the first weekend at Jacksonville State. What stood out to you guys in that series?
Well, first of all, I think that UC Bearcat baseball fans probably aren't as well versed in college baseball as they are in other things like football and basketball. And that was one of the things I talked with Coach Bischel about this week. Was a lot of times you see a team like Jacksonville State, and if it were a basketball game or a football game, you would expect more of an easy game. But Jacksonville State has had a very good baseball program. And that was a competitive series. Outside of the first game, it was a very competitive series. And then, of course, they went over to Auburn the following Tuesday and had just a lights-out pitching performance and blew that game open late before going to UAB and really getting ambushed by a pretty good UAB team that was picked last in their league, but they will not finish last in their league. So before yesterday's game with Bowling Green. So there's been some ups and downs. The pitching, starting pitching in particular, probably has to get a little bit lengthier than what it's been. But that would be my opening on the season. Jeff, do you have something?
Well, yeah, I think you're right. Talking about, programs like Jacksonville State and UAB, they don't necessarily pop. Like they opened at Duke last year and everybody was excited about that series. But Jacksonville State, UAB, Austin P, who comes in this weekend, you say on the surface they're not Power 5 program or Power 4 or whatever, but they are legit top 100 programs. They're going to give the Bearcats, a run for their money. So yeah, you saw what Kent State went to Tennessee last weekend, took 2 out of 3. These things happen in baseball and college baseball. So, you just it's a marathon, 56 games. It just, you're going to ride the roller coaster for a while.
And I think really when you look at a lot of these teams, everybody's got good arms these days. And, this Austin Peay team that's coming in there, one of their starters is from LSU and the other one's from Oklahoma State. And the guy that beat UC, who pitched brilliantly against them, was Bo Bryant's, and he came from Alabama. And the guys that we're going to see some of this year in some of the out-of-conference games, some of those guys are going to end up in Power 4 programs next year. For instance, the Mid-American Conference, as soon as the season ended last year, 50 players jumped out of back schools and into the portal to go to other schools. Some of them went to Power 4 schools like Kent State, Jeff, you mentioned. They beat Tennessee 2 out of 3, and Tennessee had a loaded recruiting class or portal class. And Kent State lost their Friday night guy, Jacob Bean, to Louisville, but yet they still won 2 or 3 at Tennessee. So there's a lot of good arms out there, and there's a lot of good players out there. And you can't take anybody for granted. And UC's going to have a tough, even though they're at home right now for 9 in a row, this is going to be a tough stretch for them playing some of the teams that they're playing.
Go ahead, Aaron.
Well, let's talk about some of those guys that have been putting in work for these Cincinnati Bearcats. In the wins, you've scored 11, you've scored 6, you've scored 8, you scored 8, you scored 8, you scored 11. A lot of runs in the games that you have won. Obviously, the lone concern being the shutout 0-1. But outside of that, every game has been relatively close, barring the 8-3 loss to UAB, I guess. But who's stood out to you so far, guys? I mean, it's only 9 games in. The temperatures are still cold, so some of the guys who are going to have some pop when the temperatures do warm up maybe aren't showing that pop that they're going to be able to show later on this season. But who's showing out to you so far? This impressed you,
Jeff? Go ahead.
First off the top of my head would be Derrick Pitts, sophomore right fielder. Last night he was 4 for 5 and just stung the ball every time he's up. Quinton Coats, I think he hit one a mile last night. The guy's just got, like I said, he's got stupid power. Those are the guys off the top of my head. What about you, Tim?
Enzo would be another guy that is.
Yeah. He just hasn't found that home run stroke yet, but he will.
Another guy that stands out to me, and he's been a guy that came in kind of under the radar from the portal, but the Smith kid, Smitty, Jackson Smith from Bradley, he has been an unbelievable on-base percentage guy. He's already in 9 games, has 8 bases on balls, and he's been plunked, hit by pitch 8 times. That's 16 times he's been on base without having to hit, and he's sort of settling into that leadoff spot. And the guy has really done a tremendous job. He doesn't strike out much, and they started out with Charlie Niehaus. Charlie had such a good fall. They were really expecting and they were talking high about Charlie, and he came out and really struggled early, and he was their leadoff hitter. But Charlie, who struck out 45 times all last year, has struck out 15 times already this year. So they moved him down, and Charlie's going to hit. He's starting to hit now. But Jackson Smith has really given them that leadoff hitter that they like. And he leads them with on-base percentage, even though his batting average is only about 286 right now. But he's a guy that's really surprised me. I wasn't expecting him to be as good as he has been. And the Bearcats have had to play without Cal Sefcik. He hasn't played yet. And that's another guy that there's a chance Cal could get drafted this year. He's not necessarily a home run hitter, but he's a guy that gets a lot of extra base hits. He runs very well. He's really improved himself in left field. So they pretty much have Pitts in right, Colin Daniel in center, and Cal in left gives them certainly a plus outfield. Turinsky's coming on, made a nice catch last night. But I think they've missed Cal. He's a potent bat that you're going to have more in that 5, maybe 6 spot. But he can drive in runs. He can make things happen. He's a good defender, and he's another guy. And you mentioned Coats. Coats has 4 home runs. No one else has more than 1. And I think Quinton's could easily have 20 home runs this year. And the thing that worried me about Quinton early was, and in the fall, he wasn't defending like he was last year. Last year when he broke in the lineup, they put him at first base, and you could just see him get better and better and better. And in the fall, he didn't defend as well. In the beginning of this year, he didn't defend very well, but now he's starting to come on. And they've got a good lineup of defenders on the field. A little bit worried about first base, a little bit worried about left field. A lot less worried right now as Turinsky's getting some more experience. Cal's going to come back. Coates is playing well, and they've got good defenders everywhere else on the diamond.
Yeah, remember Coates, he came in as a third baseman, so he transitioned halfway through last year to first base. And you might think that's an easy transition, but it's really not. If you played the game at all, it's not just stand over there and catch the ball. Same thing with Turansky. Like, he's a first baseman by trade, but he's playing left field. So they've got some guys who are playing not out of position, but different positions. And you were talking about Charlie Niehaus. If he continues to struggle with the strikeouts, they could always slide Jackson Reardon over to short. And remember, Christian Mitchell, he started the season as the third baseman, and he may be supplanted by Reardon if Jackson continues to hit the way he is.
Mitchell was a second-team All-MAC player as a third baseman, as a freshman at Central Michigan.
Well, you've got him and Luke Sefcik, who basically are part of the Bischel family coming over from Central Michigan, and they're really not playing as much as I thought they would. Honestly, hat tip to the coaching staff. Like, best players play, right? So you look at their lineup right now, they have nothing but sophomores and freshmen playing when they have some upperclassmen. The only junior who started last night was Jack Natili, and he's not going to be here next year because he'll probably be a top 5 round draft pick this summer.
Yeah, they've actually played four different players in left field with Cal being hurt.
Yeah.
So, including Luke Sefcik has played out there, who I call, you don't use the term coach on the field much with baseball, but I think that's what Luke is. And I think it was after that first win over UAB, Coach Bischel gave Luke the T-shirt because remember that one inning where UAB had the bases loaded? I don't know if there was an out. I think a run scored and there was one out, and it was a close game. I think it was 1-1 at the time, and there was a ball hit to second base. Luke comes in, fields the ball, takes the runner, gets the easy double play to get him out of the inning with Joel Panero on the mound. He's just a real smart player. I think he's the best bunter on the team. And so he's also quality. And Coach Bischel is trying to play 13, 14, including 5-2 freshmen, because Joe Dussel has also played some this year. He's trying to get all those guys in. So it's been a really fluid batting order and lineup from game to game. The only guy that was pretty much locked in was Conlan Daniels, batting number 9. But then when they sat Smitty, they moved Colin Daniel up to first, leadoff. And that was the first time he had been out of the 9 hole. So I think Bischel's still trying to figure out who should play where and where is the best place to put him in the lineup. But he's got depth, something he didn't have in year 1 and year 2.
Are you surprised at all to see Conlan Daniel coming out as slow as he has so far this season?
I am a little bit.
Yeah.
He hit a little over 300. I think it was around 313 last year. We're talking about small sample sizes. The thing about Colin is he does so many things well. He defends well. He's got a good arm. He was a pitcher at Moeller. I think he can throw in the 90s or pretty close to it. Then he had the Tommy John surgery, so he took that gap year. That's why he's also eligible for the Major League Baseball draft this year, because he took the gap year. And he hasn't quite done as much, but he is getting on base with some walks and things like that. He got picked off the other day. And really in that UAB series, a lot of Bearcat runners got picked off or got thrown out. And, I noticed there was a little bit of grumbling about that. But when you try to run the kind of offense that Bischel does, it's going to put pressure on the defense. They're going to run. And even if they get thrown out, and it's going to happen, they're going to continue to run. But, Jeff, what did you think about Conlan or of him so far?
Yeah, honestly, I thought he would be the leadoff hitter. It hasn't happened yet. It could still happen. Ton of potential there. I mean, wasn't Vanderbilt after him in the portal after he decided to leave Wright State? So, I mean, that's a pretty good program who wants a talented kid. What's that?
Vanderbilt and Wake Forest. They were the 3 schools that were after him, though.
Yeah. I think just, concentrate on playing defense. The hitting will come, as it warms up and as he gets more comfortable with his new surroundings. I think he'll be fine.
But he has started slow. You're right, Aaron. I mean, he hasn't hit. I think he's hitting in the mid to low 200s right now.
I'm showing 214.
214. I was going to say 216. I wasn't really sure.
Mhm.
But yeah, he's down there 100 points lower than he was last year. But we'll see what happens with him. He's an awful good defender.
Like I said, it's still early.
Yeah.
Now, Tim, you mentioned being a little concerned with some of the starting pitching. It looks like,
Yeah.
I mean, Nate Taylor and Logan Knight, both supposed to be your Friday, Saturday guys. They've both struggled a little bit here so far already. What are your thoughts on what you've seen there?
Jeff, go ahead.
Oh no, Tim, I'm gonna let you handle this. I am like Chad. I'm volleyball dad, so a lot of times I don't get a chance to see the games. I'm following. That's why I was texting you last Sunday. Our live stats was cutting out for me, so I don't get a chance to put my eyeballs on live action. So I'm going to defer to you on a couple of these things.
Okay, well, as far as Nate goes, I think both of his starts were right at 4 innings, and they want to have a little more from that because as we saw on that road trip, they had to get in their bullpen sooner, and when you're having to throw 5 innings with your bullpen, and some of their guys are pitching, like I think Carson Marsh pitched 4 times on that trip. And you could see he just didn't have quite the same stuff that he had in that game 1 when he was really good. And he did throw 3 innings in that particular first game that they won. So we know Nate. We know who he is. We know he's going to compete. He's going to get better. I know they love Logan Knight. He's the only starter that's gone over 4 innings. He had the one 6-inning outing, the game number 2 against Jacksonville State. But everybody had trouble at UAB keeping the ball in the ballpark. I think they had maybe 12 home runs in 4 games, right around that. And that was a shocker because the Bearcats hit balls off the fence several times, but didn't get nearly as many balls out of the ballpark. And then Adam Brower was the Sunday starter. And he's, that's a guy that was a Friday starter at Northern Illinois. And I think he's going to come around and probably pitch a little bit better. But up until now, I know he hasn't been particularly happy, having talked to Coach Bischel with some of his performances too. So the biggest thing they need is to have those starters eat up a few more innings, get to that 5th and maybe that 6th inning, and then you don't have to rely so much because they had a great start from the kid, the baby bull out of Illinois, Connor Blue. It gave him 4 good innings on that weekday start, and so that kind of helped them to get some other guys in the game that they needed to have throw, like Eager got a chance to throw and Oliver got a chance to throw, and even Paczynski is another guy that needed to throw. He did not pitch as well as we were hoping early, but he's coming around, and I know they look to him as a real stopper. So the key right now and in this series is to get those starters to get a little deeper into the game and eat a few more outs.
Yeah, that'll happen. As it warms up, kind of like with the bats warming up, the arms will warm up. It's supposed to be 60 degrees tomorrow and Saturday, so hopefully that'll help Nate go a little bit deeper into the game.
Well, let's talk a little bit about the upcoming series, and also shortly after that, before we record again next week, also Western Kentucky on Tuesday. You've got Austin Peay coming in. I'm not sure. I can't see what their record is. I have no idea.
4-4.
Okay, there we go. Thank you, Tim. But they're coming into UC Baseball Stadium because we still have no naming rights. So if you're looking to sponsor something, not just this show, but go ahead and sponsor the stadium because you might be able to get it for pennies on the dollar right now. But you're hosting Austin Peay. You got them at 3:00 on Friday, 3:00 on Saturday, 1:00 on Sunday. Weather should be beautiful, at least on Saturday and Sunday. I'm not sure what Friday's holding right now, but yeah, I'm curious what you mentioned some of the things that you're looking for, Tim. I'm curious what you're looking for just as a whole from the entire team, not just your keys to win, but what else you want to see this team do that's going to look good for the rest of the season.
Well, people that have been at Bearcat Journal for a long time will remember a guy by the name of Swing Tom. And Jerry was a guy that always talked about it's not who you play, but when you play them. And right now, UC is going to play a team that won 45 games last year and won the ASUN Conference. And they had almost everybody on their team was dangerous. They had pretty close to 8 or 9 guys that were hitting 300. Right now, their whole infield and their DH, they're all coming back. They were all 300 or higher hitters last year and getting that 45 wins. But some of them are not hitting that way. Velazquez, their third baseman, is the preseason player of the year in that conference. He's a guy that is really high energy. He's a very good defender. He's a captain. He's got power. He had 14 homers last year, and he's hitting about 214 right now. And they had the freshman of the year in the ASUN as well. He's playing first base for them. Let's say his name is Cole Johnson, and he's hitting on the interstate. He's in the 100s. So I think the key, and in texting with Coach Bischel today, I know he's worried about it. They got a lot of really good bats that are not hit yet. And he's hoping there's another 3 days before they start to heat up. Because once we get past them, I hope they are a house on fire the rest of the year. I hope they just start winning and get to that 45 wins again.
Yeah.
But, that's going to be a big key for them, is if they can hold these guys off. This is a team that wants to play fast. They want to bunt. They want to run. They hit 112 homers last year, but 40 of those home runs are gone. One of their kids is with the Cardinals now. The other one's with the Mets. They accounted for 40 of those 112 home runs. So they only have 2 home runs right now. So you don't want to have what you had happen at UAB, where the ball's flying out of UC Stadium, and it's the other guys that are getting all those extra base hits. So that's one thing that really worries me. And when, like I said before, there's so many good arms in college baseball, and these starters for them this weekend, they got a kid from LSU who's going to start on Saturday, Caleb Appleby. He's 6'7". He was the closer last year. Again, an LSU kid that transferred in. Oklahoma State transfer that came in. He sits at 95 miles per hour and it has touched 98 miles per hour. That's their Saturday and Sunday guys. Now, the Friday guy, Cody Arrington, he's got a fastball that people call it a unicorn because it moves so much. And he throws it right around 92, 93% of the time. How many people can get away with that in this day and age of baseball?
That's wild.
But that's what you're going to be facing. And these guys are dangerous. I know people think, they should come in and win this series. Bearcats have to play well, because these guys can come in just like we've seen around the country, and they can cause a lot of havoc on the UC team if they're not playing well, like they did against Bowling Green last night.
Yeah, I'm looking at their schedule. They split with UNLV.
Yeah, and that UNLV, remember, UC was 2-2 against UNLV.
Yeah, UNLV 7-2 so far. They played well. Beat Eastern Michigan 2 out of 3. They took a thumping. At the hands of Mississippi State 16-3, but Mississippi State is 9-0 and number 5 in the country. So, kind of give them a pass on that one, but they'll be dangerous.
Yeah, it's a talented team, and you better be ready. And they're gonna try to do what UAB in a lot of ways mirrored UC's type of play. They squeeze bunted twice against UC. They were running the bases, double stealing. These guys will try to do the same thing. They don't have many base stealers right now. I think it's their center fielder is the guy that's running the most. He's their rabbit. He's got 7 steals and 8 attempts. But they want to play fast, a lot like UC. And I always use the terminology in basketball. Basketball teams that press a lot don't particularly like to play against the team that presses them a lot. And I think it's true in baseball too. Teams that play the small ball, the hit and run, we're going to pressure you. We're going to try to make you feel every inch of the diamond. A lot of times when guys come in and do it to you, it can create just as many mistakes. And we saw some of that over the road trip to Alabama as well.
As far as Western Kentucky on Tuesday, what kind of problems are they going to present? And what do you want to see out of Cincinnati in that little one-off?
Western Kentucky has a manager, Mark Reardon, who is their Jordan Bischel. He's only been there 1 more year. But last year, Western Kentucky, they are in the same league with Dallas Baptist, which every year is a ranked team and every year goes to the NCAA tournament. And Western Kentucky ended up winning the tournament last year. And who did they beat in the end? Jacksonville State, who we just saw a week or so ago. Now, this Western Kentucky team is going to be a little bit different because they're 2 big studs. Drew Whalen, who was the player of the year in that conference, he's now pitching in relief for Auburn. And the other pitcher was Jack Bennett. He's now pitching in relief at Kentucky. So they lost 2 of their best arms. But the thing about Reardon is he was a 20-year junior college head coach. He knows everybody at that level. And he has done a great job bringing in. If you look at their roster, you're going to see tons of JUCO kids. So what I'm worried about, we play them in a weekday game, and he's going to be like everybody else UC plays. Everybody else is, the old motto, get old and stay old. That's what Reardon's doing. He's getting JUCO college kids. He's old and he keeps old because he gets them. UC is the complete opposite. Jordan Bischel is trying to bring in young guys. UC's got 23 first or second year players, where you look at Austin Peay. They've got 6 first or second year players they're coming in with. So it's going to be a matchup of experience against a lot of youth. And I'm worried about, I'm actually, to be honest about it, I'm glad that UC's only playing in one game. I would prefer not to play them 3 times. I think they're that good.
They split with BYU in their first series.
They did. And they're 5-3 right now, but it's a good program. And that guy has done a great job there. And it's going to be a real run for your money. That's going to be another fun game to go to if you're a UC fan.
The forecast looks terrible, by the way.
Does it? Yeah, I did see that. It was looking bad.
Yeah, for like all of next week, it looks bad. So San Diego State's going to love, or UC San Diego is going to love coming in here with the snow and rain and all that stuff.
How do you have snow when the low is in the mid 50s? I don't understand. What are we doing?
Welcome to Cincinnati.
I guess cloud seeding. I'm just.
How many pitchers has UC used already, Tim? Like 14, 15?
Yeah. I think I don't know, since Cal, are you talking about position?
No, pitchers.
Oh, pitchers.
14.
14.
I got it right here. 14.
Okay. And only one, I think Coulter's the only one that's thrown once.
Yeah.
He's only got 1 inning. Yeah.
And he actually looked good in that inning where he didn't look so good previously in the fall. That's a kid that is a true freshman. He showed some potential, and then he got Tommy John surgery, and now he's back from that. And I was really encouraged by him and his performance. I guess was that the UAB game, the game that we lost?
Yeah, because he and Oliver pitched in the same game.
Yeah. Yeah, so you need as many, as we all know, you can't have too much pitching.
Yeah, we found that out last year in the regional at Tennessee. I think they just ran out of arms.
Well, you had Friday night and then pray for rain. I mean, that's what it kind of turned into, because Ellen O'Connor was being used to help win the Friday night games, and so and then Carson Marsh was having him try to pitch as a starter when his role was really a relief pitcher. So it was tough. They did a good job with what they had, but it was trying to piece together. And you had guys like Michael Conti, who they really only wanted to use one time through the lineup, and Michael was doing so well. I think it was at the BYU one of the extra inning games, and Michael pitched more than one time through the lineup and did a great job. But boy, we were asking a lot of people to do things that maybe weren't in their wheelhouse last year.
Yeah, and they have, aside from Tommy Boba, who's still recovering from the Tommy John, Charlie hasn't thrown yet. Who else are we expecting?
Well, Boba would be one. I don't think Boba's going to be back for another 4, maybe a month.
Yeah,
that would be a big plus if they could get him back. And I'd like to see Garula even out a little bit. Against Auburn, he was so good, and people don't see guys like him anymore. Nobody recruits a guy like that anymore.
Yeah.
And, the SEC, nobody's going to face him. But when he's throwing the ball over the plate, he's just a crafty left-hander. He's the definition. He's the picture in the book that you look at. And but if he's not getting the ball over, it's tough on him. And I'd like to see him get a little bit. And Brandon Eager's another guy that threw a lot of strikes. He came here as a strike thrower, but we haven't seen the real guy yet. But you hope that you're going to. I know they just love Logan Knight, and I don't think we've even seen the best Logan Knight yet. But Hudson Johnson, there's another guy. This time he was killing people. I mean, he could go for length. He could get maybe 3 innings out of him. And he just really started having control problems at the tail end of last year, and it's carried over into this year. So we haven't seen him at all yet.
His first outing last year was a 3-inning outing against Duke, I believe, and he just completely shut him down. And we thought, this guy was going to be dominant, and hasn't worked out. Hopefully he get it straightened out here soon. Another quality arm for that bullpen. especially a lefty.
And they've had, I think they've got three closers. Don Morrow, who had pitched in the Division II College World Series. He threw 3 innings the other day. He's a strike thrower. He went up to Cape Cod, played really, really well there. I think that gave him confidence. He's looking good. He's coming into form. Buchkowski, when he's throwing the ball over, he's almost unhittable. And now he's coming from different arm angles even, instead of just the submarine.
Yeah.
He struck out the side, but it wasn't really a pretty strikeout on the side, because I know at least 2 of them were full count strikeouts. And the other one wasn't like a 3-pitch or a 4-pitch strikeout. But when he comes in, he's one of those guys that can get you that strikeout when you really need that strikeout. And then we've seen that from Carson Marsh. And I think Garula is another guy that could come in and really close out some games as well. But you have to get those starters to go a little deeper where you're not running those guys out. Now, one thing I did talk with Coach Bischel about, I think maybe a week ago or so, and I asked him about when they went to Auburn, how many of their relief pitchers would be ready to pitch, because I wasn't thinking a lot of those guys would throw. But they're pretty much on a cycle. If they're throwing 35 pitches, that's about where they want them, that they can come back after 2 or 3 days and pitch again. Because that one game, I think it was the finale at UAB, they really wanted Marsh to finish that game. But he was already in that 35 to 36, 37 type pitch count, and they had to get him out. That's why Buchkowski came in to finish it off. So that gives everybody a little bit of idea or a peek in behind the curtain of the team as to what we can expect more and more. But 35 pitches is sort of where they want to have those relief pitchers. Anything more than that, and we could always say, well, 2 innings, but which is oftentimes the case, like it was at Auburn. It was 2, 2, 2, 2, and then Joe Pernero got the one. But if they get a fast, if they're pitching to contact and they get in, 3 outs and 8 or 9 pitches, it's a possibility a guy could throw 3 innings if we're just going by pitch counts. But this early in the year, you don't want to take a chance on those guys' arms, because you're not going to go to the NCAA playoffs now. You need to have your guys all year long and then into the tournament.
Well, wrapping things up here, as we're at about that 30-minute mark where we're going to kind of keep this show for those of you listening. Real quick, I did want to acknowledge one of the comments here in the chat. Bob and Holly said Nate will be fine. He's just missing a little location right now that doesn't go away for long. I would agree. I think Nate's going to be just fine. I'm not concerned about him.
I don't think.
Yeah, I think you're right, Tim. But before we get out of here, I want to hear one position player and one pitcher from each of you guys that you want to have your eye on this week. Guys to look out for this upcoming week.
Okay, well, I'll go first. Since we're talking about Nate, I go Nate. I mean, he's their ace. He's a junior now, and I think everybody believes 100% in Nate. So he would be the guy. I think he gets us off to a good start and get a win in game 1. You can't get a sweep unless you win game 1, and I think he'll do a good job with that. He's been a winner. His overall record at UC, I think, is something like 16-4 or something like that. So he would be the one guy. If we're going to go position player, and that's a hard one because Pitts is hitting really well. Coach is hammering home runs, but I'm going to go with the human pinata. I'm going to go Jackson Smith. If he's not getting hit, he's getting hit. So he's getting on base. He's setting the table. I'm going to go with my young guy from Bradley.
There you go.
Okay, I'll go with Adam Brower because we've seen Knight go 6 innings. We know what Nate Taylor can do. I want to see Brower go more than – I think he's only gone, 2 innings most, hasn't he?
I think he's been 3, but I'm not sure.
Okay. But for your Sunday guy, I think we need to get a little bit more out of him. I think they will. Hitter, I'm going to say that Enzo gets his first homer this weekend, and he just continues to mash. The kid he just hits and hits and hits.
Can you believe he doesn't already have one? I mean, it's almost surprising when we saw Jeff in the fall. He'll hit a fly ball, and you think it's just going to be a routine fly, and it just keeps going and going and going.
Yeah. The ball, kind of like Coats, like they just have ridiculous pop in those bats. What people are going to see it once Enzo gets really hot. He's just gonna drop bombs.
Real quick, we just got this comment. Matt Nunnally says, "Wow, just found y'all. Auburn fan here. You guys look strong. So thanks for checking us out, Matt. We appreciate it. This is our first episode, so you haven't missed.
Let's go.
You haven't missed much.
We want Matt to know also that we're rooting for those Tigers just as much as anybody. I pay attention. They had a big walk-off the other day over, I think it was Georgia Southern or Georgia State, who only won a couple games, but all you got to do is just keep winning. And they've got an all-star lineup. That coach or that catcher there is Fraley, and then Bud Terrell. Those two kids are studs too.
Well, they're going to get they had an injured player. He's supposed to come back this weekend, isn't he?
I'm not sure who the injured player is. Is it the first baseman you're talking about?
I don't remember. I just saw that he missed our game and he's been out for the first part of the season.
That's the second baseman. The second baseman's been out with an injury. He was rated number 1 by D1 baseball in the whole country. Yeah, he's only a sophomore too. Their sophomore class is so loaded.
Yeah,
we'll let you guys check out the Auburn Tigers podcast for that one. But I think that's going to wrap things up here for us. Unless you guys got anything else that you want to say before we.
Yeah, if anybody wants to send me some tips on how to turn this damn camera on, go ahead.
Well, I think I just want to say, Aaron, thanks for this. Tell Chad, thanks for this. I mean, the more light we can shine on the Diamond Bearcats, I think the better. I think they deserve it. And I would do about anything. I mean, I'm not a big podcast guy. I haven't done them in a long time. But as you can tell, I like to talk about it. I have no problem talking about Bearcat baseball. So, but thanks for having this. Everybody, we just want everybody to know about them and everybody to get on board and really get this train moving.
I mean,
for sure.
Of the programs right now, I think the baseball team is the one that might deserve the most attention.
I was just going to say this podcast was infinitely better because Jeff's camera didn't work.
I can't argue.
I didn't get a chance to show my logo either. I got that on there.
It's a good one.
The camera is a little bit low, or at least I'm a little low, but I wanted to wear my hat and everything. Put me in.
Third
All
base.
Right.
Third base, you at the high corner, Tim?
Oh, well, yeah, early in life, but then I became a left fielder. I mean, I could run a little bit back then. Now I just get the runs. But I was a guy that could get around.
Now you just get the runs?
That's what he said.
Yeah. That's not too
All
bad.
right. Well, on that note, that's going to wrap things up for us here. Thanks to Tim Adams and Jeff Gentil for dropping knowledge bombs on us all night long. Thanks to all of you who joined us here live. Thanks to everybody who listens to us wherever you get your podcasts. Again, if you are looking to sponsor a show, we have a wide open sponsorship for the title sponsor on this show, and we will talk about you at least twice throughout the entirety of this one. But for Tim Adams, for Jeff Gentil, for Chad Brendel, I'm Aaron Smith, and we will catch you next Thursday night on 8:30 for your Diamond Bearcat podcast on bearcatjournal.com.